Hey folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. It's Wednesday. It's 6:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's so good to be in the East because you're in Standard Time while the rest of the world is trying to figure out how they fit in to the Eastern Standard Time world. Here in the East, we've got it all figured out. You have to come to us, okay, with your crazy time period. It's actually a real easy way these days to have problems with people if you schedule some type of online activity or some type of shtick where you're supposed to meet somebody online. They think that you're doing their time zone. You think they're doing your time zone. Everybody gets upset with each other. And then it's the age old excuse, oh, I was on my time, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like the same thing with this worldwide situation, as I like to call it. It's the universal dog ate my homework. Okay, I want to talk about, folks, and you're welcome. This is a live interactive fun. There's Q&A. You can Q, you can A, you can make a comment, address whatever you have to say. But I wanted to talk about some of these topics of the day that have been exciting to me. First things first, we'll talk about this Whoopi Goldberg situation. It's a hot topic, as they say on The View. And I guess, the political machine that is political correctness ate one of its own today or this past week, depending on how you look at it. Now, look, I watch The View sometimes. I typically tape it and I just zip through it if they're talking about something I find interesting. I'll be honest, I kind of liked it better when Meghan McCain was on it because I liked the combative spirit of the show. I watch the show mainly to see them argue and fight with each other. And when everybody gets along, which they kind of do now, it's not as much fun. Now, unfortunately for Whoopi Goldberg, I did watch the show on Monday, and I did catch her comments that she was saying that the Holocaust, not an issue of race, but an issue of man's inhumanity to man. Now, look, I think it's, did she misspeak? Was she saying things out of turn? Was she insensitive? Perhaps. However, I don't think she meant any harm or to lack empathy or sympathy or respect to the people that were killed or were victimized by the Holocaust. I didn't interpret it that way. I think she might have been thinking in terms of a race as a skin tone, and that was it. And she was kind of saying this is a white on white crime, meaning that the Germans and the Jewish people, and of course there was Polish people attacked too, which I think the book Mouse is mostly about, because I did read Mouse once upon a time. So I don't think Whoopi meant harm. And I think she did have an apology, of course, and all that. And even on yesterday's View, she discussed it, and they had like the guy from the ACLU. What else she wanted to do? I think this 2-week suspension, fine. Let her rest up. I mean, the lady just came out of COVID. We've got a comment here that I'm going to get to. And my buddy Adam DeMoy is showing up. Good. And I don't know, but Whoopi looks to be turning into Viscera or King Mabel. She needs a break. Oh, man, that hits close to home, buddy, because I think you've watched Disregard the Vampire, Mike Messier documentary, and you've seen call him cool guy. So Viscera or King Mabel, yeah, Whoopi is getting a little bulky. But she just had COVID, actually. So, I mean, I like Whoopi. Some people on Twitter, of course, that's where everyone airs 30 years ago when, Whoopi and Ted went there and they were dating, and Ted wore black. Were having a big laugh for themselves and trying to be I don't know what they were trying to do. I mean, I guess they were trying to be was how deplorable blackface was, and he never wore blackface and he never said the N-word. But then people found Howard Stern doing some parodies on his old New York late night show where he was in fact wearing blackface and saying the N-word. So these days, folks, you can't really hide from anything you do. I'm sure I've left a trail of tears and a trail of offensive comments throughout Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. And I challenge and I encourage everyone to watch all my videos, share them, and do research, and just put the hours into watching all of my videos to find all the deplorable and offensive things I've said over the years. Okay. So you'll have me get my watch time up. Now, what else? Where do I stand on this thing? I think it's an unnecessary suspension. But at the same time, you see them giving a lot of heat to people like Tucker Carlson and so forth when they say something on a turn. And if you're going to be the public, then you're going to eat yourself once in a while too. So I'm not crying any tears for Whoopi, and maybe she needs a vacation. And like Adam's pointing out, maybe she can rest a little bit. Now, here's a good friend, Dale, who's never chimed in before. I'm glad to have you, Dale F. Appel. She trivialized the Holocaust. This was against the Jewish people and the Romas / gypsies. So we're going to say Jewish person. I think you had a typo, Dale. If a Jewish person made such a remark trivializing slavery in the Old South, there would have been demonstrations and the seeps. You obviously don't understand the implications of what you said. And then Dale comes up with, she should have been fired. Well, maybe I don't, Dale, and you're welcome to make more comments. But I would say this, Dale. Did you watch the day after Monday, which I guess was Tuesday? They had the ACLU president on, and Whoopi apologized. So, I don't know what to say. I mean, I think this is the type of thing where it's going to hit people different ways. Obviously, it's going to hit Jewish people perhaps harder than non-Jewish people. I don't think Whoopi meant to offend or to insult or minimize. I think she was making a point about man's inhumanity to man. However, she's serving the 2-week suspension. So I'll go back to Dale's comment here because I think it's worth reading and definitely worth sharing. Let's see. Okay. Well, that's good, Dale. But Dale, you're welcome to write more, and we'll consider it, or I'll consider it, because I think that's why I put it on the docket of conversation here with everything else. Now, speaking of this, the next topic, Brian Flores sues the NFL. I think it's very interesting. Apparently, Brian was in the finals for 2 different teams. I think the Houston Texans, and what was the other team he's in the finals for to be the new coach? So for him to make this lawsuit happen while he's still under consideration for these jobs, he must really have lost faith in the system. And this, was it called the Rooney Law, the Rooney Rule, that is supposed to give everyone a fair shake, or especially the African-American potential coaches a fair shake. He doesn't feel that it's working. He doesn't feel that it's working at all. So interesting. And I think once again, it's something that is going to open some people's eyes. Now, I watched Skip and Shannon Undisputed this morning. They were talking about it a bit. Well, they were talking about it a lot. But once I put on the other show, First Take, with Stephen A. Smith and Molly Queeram Rose, they were really going at it. And so basically the whole 2 hours became about this Brian Flores NFL lawsuit. So I thought that was very interesting. And I think people were kind of making comparisons for Brian Flores and Curtis Flood, I believe, from a generation ago, and saying that Brian may not profit from this lawsuit. His career, his potential to be an NFL coach might be over. There is here's an opportunity for him, which maybe he hasn't thought of, or maybe he has. The XFL is starting up supposedly in 2023. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has apparently purchased the XFL. And so in that case, we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. So maybe Brian will get a job at the XFL. I think that would be very interesting. Let's see. What else have we got? Now we have another topic. a lot of hard hitting topics today. It's very exciting. The Redskins have become the Washington Commanders, which I think is an interesting story. As some of you may know, I grew up in the Northern Virginia area, and I always, we didn't really think about it back then. The Redskins were the Redskins. Didn't really think of the implications. As I got older, the story, I guess there's some people dispute this, but one of the possibilities with this Redskins name is that the Redskin refers to the actual scalp of the Native Americans that were butchered by the white man, the evil white man. So in that case, it is pretty offensive term. If you're thinking about these Redskins literally being the scalps of dead people, that they're being murdered and slaughtered for their scalps, that's pretty offensive. And so why was this name not changed earlier? I don't know. But I mean, I know that the owner of the Redskins, Dan, I'm trying to remember his last name, but he's a real piece of work. He hasn't been very popular in years, and he's kind of run this Washington football team into the ground as far as being a competitive team. Back in the day, the Redskins, Daniel Snyder, I don't think he's a very good owner. 57 years old. When did he buy the team? He bought the team from Jack Kent Cook's estate in 1999. So basically, 20-something years, nothing. I don't think they've been in an NFC championship game his whole tenure. I think they've been in the playoffs maybe 2 or 3 times. And but you compare that to the teams of the 80s, the Joe Gibbs era, Jack Kent Cook, winning 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. Joe Theismann, first African-American quarterback, was there. And then you had Mark Rippon. So, I mean, it's to me, it's just interesting that these Redskins do not have much going for them as far as being a team. So if they're going to change the name to the Commanders, what I would like to January 1st, 1988, first African-American quarterback to win the Super Bowl over the Broncos, I believe. And I think he beat the Broncos that year. So it was a big up at the time. Now, I'm just and owner. What do you get rid of this owner? I guess you don't. It takes a lot of things to get rid of these team owners. If you remember the LA Clippers situation about 5 or 6 years ago, it takes a lot for these jerky owners to get out of power. And I think we're kind of stuck with Dale Snyder. Now, as far as the actual new team name, the Washington Commanders, I think it's okay. It has kind of a Star Wars feel to it. I like the mascot is like kind of a stormtrooper, and Commandos. Is it Commandors or the Commandos? I think it's the Commanders. Very interesting to me. It's another way to sell new merchandise, to be honest with you. Like I have my old, Redskins jersey in the closet, and I think that a lot of fans in the DC area, they're such loyal sports fans. I think they're going to be buying this new gear, maybe under the false assumption that this is going to be like a fresh start, but it's meet the new boss, same as the old boss. It's the same old owner in charge. So I think that's very interesting. And we'll see what happens. Let's see what else is going on in the world. Comments and questions. Welcome. We had some fire before, and now it's all extinguished. But if anyone has a comment or a question on these topics, these hot topics, kind of using that term from The View, you're welcome to chime in. Earlier, we had our friend Dale FFL had some interesting words, which I liked, and Adam checked in. And let's see. Now we've got D back, my good buddy. Hi, Mike. I might get used to just saying it. If you're talking about the Commanders, I think that's, yeah, it's okay. I mean, the Washington Commanders, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Really know if it's going to be overall good or bad or somewhere in between. Usually things are in between. But this is what I was saying, D back. They've got to win some games. I would have called them the Washington Senate Sentinels. Okay, Jimmy back in. Jimmy from down under. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Yeah, the Washington Sentinels. I mean, what is a sentinel though? I don't even know what a sentinel is. It's not a senator, because there used to be a football team called uh, there used to be a baseball team called the Senators. What is a sentinel? I'm looking that up, buddy. Just interesting stuff. I did watch a YouTube video today. A soldier or guard whose job is to stand and keep watch. Okay, learn something new. Station a soldier or guard by a place to keep watch. Okay, very good. Sentinel. Interesting. I mean, it doesn't really roll off the tongue, at least for probably people in the USA, Jimmy. Uh, it's kind of like a $5 word. And, look, most people just want the commanders. It sounds pretty good, I guess. I think I'm more inspired or more intrigued. It looks like a Darth Vader or something, like Red Darth Vader. So who knows? But the thing, guys, what's going to be the same crap is if these Washington Commanders just continue to lose all the time. You know what I mean? Like, change the name if you want. But as it stands now, most of the people coming to see the Washington football team are opposing fans. They're not even Washington fans. They're fans from other places, and Snyder doesn't seem to care. So it's just an embarrassment. He's kind of run the team into the ground. And sure, this thing is a cosmetic change, but you're going to need to win some games, and you're going to need to kind of get the spirit of the community back. And I don't think Snyder's that guy. Let's see, buddy. Have you seen The Replacements? Yeah, I think I have. Wasn't that a Keanu Reeves movie? Wasn't that about the strike year, buddy? Because there's a couple of movies like that. There was Donnie Wahlberg, or what's his name? The other Wahlberg, Mark Wahlberg, did one. It's what the team called. Okay, so The Replacements. Yeah, was that like about the strike season, which I think was based on, inspired by the 1987-88 Washington Redskins. That I think that was the year they won a Super Bowl, one of their 3 Super Bowls, the second of the 3 with Doug Williams. It was actually a strike year. And I think what they called scabs or replacement players played in 3 games. And I think some of those guys got the rings and some didn't. Okay, so we have a nice back and forth here going on. Let's see what else, folks. It just seemed like today was a heavy news day. Like, I just turned on the TV and everything's blowing up. Everyone's so excited. Everyone's got an opinion, that's for sure. You know what I mean? The world is just spinning into this realm, and just very exciting. It's very exciting. Now, a few days ago, people were saying there's going to be some world war breaking through, but that hasn't happened as of now. But it's 6:29, so we get the rest of the night to see that develop, if it does. And but just once again, controversies. We're living in an abrasive age of social media. We're living in a time of confusion. You have to hold on to the real. It is what it is. If anyone else wants to comment or chime in, feel free. I always like the freedom of speech that we have here on these live interactive sessions, so to speak. As far as the wrestling world goes, I guess the AEW will be taking on tonight. They've got some big matches. I'll probably watch that. Yeah, the Shane McMahon, good point. Shane McMahon seems to be released or let go from WWE, depending on where you get your information. It's kind of like he's been in and out for a couple of years, and he did take a 7-year hiatus. I think there's some real issues there, guys. I think that Shane might have felt he was being looked over for years in favor of Triple H and Stephanie, or anything he did in the wrestling ring did not fully please his father, getting thrown off his cells, having the WrestleMania match with X-Pac. I mean, just there's some real Freudian things going on there with that McMahon family. Shane came back, 3 or 4 years ago, wrestled the Undertaker at WrestleMania, took a couple of dives off the cage, did the same thing against Kevin Owens, but it just seems that it's just like he's like the prodigal son, and I don't know, I can't wrap my head around their family or what's going on with that. It's confusing, but at the same time, these people, Shane is not going to be hurting financially. You know what I mean? Like Shane's got enough money for the rest of his life, and so on and so forth. So there you go, folks. Any more topics you want to bring up? I appreciate everyone being here. This is very exciting. Live time. If you are just joining in to the fun, you can see earlier we talked about the Whoopi Goldberg situation. My friend Dale was well articulated and kind of raised some good points. And then we went into the whole Brian Flores, the NFL suit. I think that's a very fascinating story. I think there's a lot of things happening today on a Wednesday. It's a big news week. I guess Tom Brady officially retired as of yesterday, and Adam Sheffield, this guy who knows everybody's business before they know it themselves. People are getting kind of hot at him because they feel like, hey, look, Sheffield, even if you knew that Tom was going to retire, can't you allow him the right to make that announcement himself? You know what I mean? And but Sheffield, I guess he considers himself the top reporter in the NFL, and he wants to have his tweet known as the guy that broke the story. Yeah, one day the true behind the scenes story of the McMahon family will be great. That's a good point. People have been talking about what if Vince had a book. I thought there was something about a Netflix McMahon or HBO based on a story of Vince McMahon. I mean, the closest we have to that now, D-Back, is the Something to Wrestle podcast. You know what I mean? So that's about the closest thing we have now. And I think it's a good podcast. I still listen to it. I mean, it's not as good as it was a couple of years ago, but it's still decent. There's Something to Wrestle. Actually, I'm going to take that back because the new episodes really haven't even been decent. But I did listen to a rerun of the Rockers and Marty Jannetty episode of Something to Wrestle, and that was right when Bruce was coming back in to the WWE before that 25th anniversary show. That turned out to be a joke and a horrible show. But in any event, I was very, I liked listening to the Marty Jannetty episode, the Rockers episode. But you could even see in that episode that our buddy there, Bruce, was kind of holding his tongue because he didn't want to offend the WWE or Vince in particular. So the closer that Bruce got to Vince, and now that he's back there full time and he's doing Something to Wrestle, at odd hours of night or whenever he can do it, it's just not the same because you could tell that he's keeping the company line and he doesn't want to get in heat with Vince and so forth. Just my opinion. I could be right. I could be wrong. So let's see what else, folks. I think I'm going to go see a movie tonight. I think I did see a movie last night. I saw House of Gucci the second time. And the reason why I did is because the first time I went to see House of Gucci, it started at 10:30 at night, the night before Thanksgiving. And by the time the 20 minutes of previews were over, it was it's almost 11 o'clock before the movie started at night, the night before Thanksgiving. And the movie's 2 hours and 47 minutes long. So I try to consider myself a hardcore guy when it comes to stuff like that. But the movie, the first time I saw it, was dragging on, and there didn't seem to be much happening. And so I left early. Now, guess what? I went to see the movie last night again. I actually had the SAG-AFTRA pass so I could go see this movie for free. And I was in a nice theater. There was actually more people in the theater than usual, probably about 7 or 8 people in the theater on a Tuesday night. And watching House of Gucci and locked in. And I just came at it from a different perspective. Hey, I should just watch the relationships in this movie. Lady Gaga, I think she's a pretty good actress, to be honest with you. And I thought the show was pretty good. I mean, the movie. And then right before I left last time is where all the drama comes in. It's like I missed it the first time. You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of cool that I got a second chance to enjoy this film. And so I did. Well, let's see what else. What a world. Was just anyone else has any further comments or queries? Please chime in now. So these are my choices. I could see Spider-Man for the third time in IMAX. I could see Scream again. There was this other movie, Flea, that I don't know if that's a documentary or a narrative. It seems pretty intense about a guy's life. Oh, the Matrix Resurrection, I can see again. See, I have this app, the fun app, the subscription app, to see all these movies. And no, I'm not going to go see House of Gucci again because I just saw it last night. So we won't be doing that. And of course, AEW will be here. But, for me, as I've told you, I don't revolve around the world. I'll tape AEW and I'll watch it at my own pleasure. I will watch it when I want. God, what else is going on? Any further questions, D-Bach or Jimmy Thunder from Down Under? I think Dale might have left a long time ago, but she's welcome to chime in again if she has further comments. Let's see. Scream. I could see Scream. I could see Sing 2. I could see Redeeming Love. I did see Redeeming Love. I gave an instant movie review about that. I thought the guy was bending over backwards for this, literal whore prostitute character. You know what I mean? And it didn't do much for me. I could see Dune, but I've already seen it. Didn't particularly like it. Nightmare Alley. I didn't really like that one either, to be honest with you. So there's all these movies that I've already seen. Some of them I don't even like. I did see GameStop Rise of the Players. It's okay. A Journal for Jordan's pretty good. Flea is at 7:45. So I think I'm going to lock into that. See, that's the fun thing with these apps, gentlemen and ladies. You can go into this thing and you can pick your movie and you can pick your seat well in advance. You can even do this weeks in advance. Or I think I want to do this new movie Flea because I think I saw the preview. It looked good enough. It might be in subtitles or some such thing. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say subtitles. So I think it's a documentary. Documentaries are kind of interesting to me. 7:45, and now I get to see that there's only one other person as of now with a ticket, and there's a seat that I like that I'm going to get, and I can even order my food if I want to get concessions. I will watch AEW on DVR later on tonight. Very good, D-back. Same thing as me. I do the YouTube TV platform of choice, and I find that it's just you can zip through the commercials. You know what I mean? If there's something going on that you're not interested in it on the show, you can bail out. Now, Javier Oyst was very nice today. Now that they're the Commanders, are they going to stop sucking? Just kidding, Mike. Go Raiders. Well, now the Raiders have a new coach, right? Didn't the Raiders just get who did they get as their coach? A Patriots guy, I believe. And I discussed this Javier earlier, and I want to thank Javier for making some nice comments today. I did release the raw footage from Wrestling Sun, a movie way back when, 2003. In fact, a lot of the guys in that footage are now deceased. Killer Kowalski and John Cronus, of course, who played my father, of my character, Young Jack. Young Jack was actually named after Jack Von Erich, which is a little trivia for you, and so on and so forth. So Javier did enjoy the back scene footage or the backstage footage from the Wrestling Sun. But Javier, did you know that the movie itself is actually completed? It's been completed and up on YouTube for years, so you can watch the narrative as it develops. Josh McDaniels is the new Raiders coach. Yes. Well, that's good. And that's, good for him. And look, I mean, I think this is going back to one of the earlier topics and these hot topics, so to speak. Brian Flores suing the NFL feels that this Rooney Rule He's prove Bill Belichick congratulating uh, the wrong Brian for the getting the job and with the Giants, and basically kind of proving that this old boy network is still into place. Well, thanks, Javier. I appreciate that, buddy. And it's always interesting to me that I feel like I had this thought today, guys. Maybe you can help me out with this. I feel like there's more activity going on my YouTube channel than is being represented in the views and the subscriptions. Like, I get more people telling me that they saw something on my channel. I even went to an AEW live show, and a guy was like, "Hey, I watch your YouTube channel," but I literally only have like a 1,150 subscribers, which I'm glad to have. But to me, it's like, are my numbers off, or just the 1,150 people very active? I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that, but who knows? This channel continues to grow, which I hope it does. I'm sure there'll be more feedback, but I feel like right now there's a lot of feedback, to be honest with you. So maybe I'm just not used to all this attention. Oh boy. So, but to go to your other point, Javier, I did address this, and I said that this is the problem. You can't just change your name and get a new crazy Darth Vader in red mascot. You have to actually be a good owner and win games and stick by a coaching staff and stick by some players. And RG3, I saw him talking today a few times about the Brian Flores thing. And to me, RG3, Richard Griffin III, his career was kind of sacrificed because he was in this playoff game. He had a bad leg. He comes out, scores. This is 10 years ago at least. He comes out, scores 2 touchdowns for the Redskins in this playoff game. They were the Redskins at the time, and they should have pulled him from the game. And I said that watching it, like, okay, you get the 2 touchdown lead, pull this guy because he's playing on a bad leg and he's the future of the franchise. But did they pull him? No. And guess what happened? He got his leg further hurt. So I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just, there's something frustrating about that, folks, whether it's WWE or the NFL or any of these things. And maybe this Dale's frustration with Whoopi Goldberg. When you're at home watching television and you see things that are, is the word erroneous or wrong or incorrect, you feel kind of angry, because you feel like these people on television or these people making these big decisions, they should be making better decisions. They should be doing things with more value. And it's frustrating when you feel like you're watching this crap in the world and it's just not going properly or correctly or up to snuff. So I get the frustration. I feel the pain of the world. Javier says, yes, you can't just have a makeover and throw money at the problem. There has to be a process in place and a commitment to winning. Well put, my friend. And it doesn't seem like Dan Snyder has very little commitment to winning. He has a commitment to making money for himself. He has a commitment to selling luxury booths. And as I went through earlier, a lot of it is to opposing fans. Like the community, the Beltway, has kind of given up on the Redskins. I mean, maybe they've turned to the Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals, but it's kind of depressing because having grown up in that area during that Joe Theismann era, Doug Williams, even Mark Rippon, who wasn't that great, but he was great enough to win a Super Bowl. It's just such a downgrade, how they've been playing for the last 23 or 4 years. The Commanders, and they're going to have this big surge of energy. That's fine, but as Javier and I think we can both kind of feel, they don't have that. It's just meet the new boss, same as the old boss. You're just putting a different outfit on a team that you're not really doing right by, and that's Snyder. I think it begins and ends with Snyder, and similar to the old LA Clippers owner, they got edged out. Although I don't think Snyder's as bad as him. But I think Snyder's bad enough that I wish that there was a different owner for the Washington football team that's now the Washington Commanders. That's just my take on it. I could be right. I could be wrong. Well, folks, if there's anything else, I'm going to wrap this up in about a minute. So Javier maybe has some final words. Nope, he already said that. So some good comments this week. We'll go back, just a little comment review. We talked about Whoopi. Dale chimed in with some good lessons for us. And Dale very anti-Whoopi on this, or thinks Whoopi needs to be taught a lesson, which I can understand. Have you seen The Replacements? We went into that whole diatribe. This is like the end of a movie where they do the flashback to everything you just saw in the movie, which I always hate that technique, by the way. Like, I hate when movies use the same footage twice in the same film. I find that to be hack, but it happens a lot. Like, you have the end of the movie montage where, like, all the crap that you already saw, the character remembers everything. And it's basically just a kind of a cheap shortcut to tell you, what you already saw. It's to pull at your heartstrings. So what else? That's about it, folks. So I guess I'm going to go see this movie, Flea. It's a documentary. Someone just sent me a very one of my long-term fans here, or subscribers, the Mikey tier. The Mikey tier option is now available, Javier. For 99 cents a month, you can see Suicide Girls. You can see all types of things you can no longer see on the main feed, and there'll be some more surprises in there. But I think I've got 45 videos on that already. So my buddy Michael AJ sent me this. Vince McMahon blames everyone for his faults, but he knows he's not doing WWE business right anymore. Brock Lesnar is always the one booked around other talents. When he's around, he gets all the attention and hype. Shane McMahon is not the problem. To Vince, he's threatened like Triple H to run company better than him. That's a good point, Michael AJ. Basically saying that Vince is he's jealous of his own family. Like, if it seems like Triple H or Shane has got a better idea than him, and then Vince pulls the power play. And I've been saying this for a while. The WWE is basically a manifestation of this madman that we've all learned to tolerate for so long, which is Vincent Kennedy McMahon, pal. So, I mean, it really, and he's a fascinating guy, but at the same time, it seems like he's insane. So that's it, folks. This has been an informative view, so to speak. We tackled many things. I'm going to call this a wrap. Feel free to share these videos. And Mike Messier, subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel.